New weather pattern changes will cross the United States next week. This comes as another strong piece of jet stream energy is set to move east. This video will break down the weather and changes you need to know about for the next several days. Thank you for joining me in this video. I don't want to waste any time, so let's go ahead and jump into the overview of the jet stream for this week and how that will dictate changes that occur. First of all, it's worth noting that around the time I'm recording this video on Saturday and as we go through the rest of the weekend into Sunday, there is a big dip in the jet stream for some parts of the central and eastern U.S. This dip has been causing a storm system to evolve, and I talked about that a lot in the last few videos. We're not going to focus on that storm system too much in this update because there is yet another storm system that's going to be on the way behind it, fueled up by this next trough or dip in the jet stream. You can see it right here with the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds moving out of parts of the northwest U.S. and then into a lot of the northern and central parts of the country into our Monday, October 20th. Big dips in the jet stream, called troughs, are often associated with stronger low-pressure systems that form up at the surface. That is exactly what's expected to form, a low-pressure system that will cross parts of the central and eastern U.S. with this as we go out on Monday through Tuesday and Wednesday. Eventually, there will also be some changes that come in behind that storm system as a result of the jet stream diving down in significant fashion. I'll go into more detail on this entire setup momentarily, but first, here's a quick reminder to check out WeatherBell with the free trial link in the description. WeatherBell provides the model maps that I use, and you can access them too at that link. Also, here's a quick reminder that if you enjoy the rest of this video and you have not hit the subscribe button already, you should subscribe down below for more accurate videos in the future. Now let's pivot over to this future radar guidance to take a look at the active weather set to evolve in the coming days. Of course, as we go out of our Saturday when I'm recording this and through Sunday and Monday, that's where the current jet stream energy over some parts of the eastern U.S. will continue in fueling up some heavy rainfall and low pressure at the surface. If you want more details on how the timeline with that has been expected to play out and still is expected to play out, check out the most recent video. I'll link that in the description. Looking back out to the west, though, you can already see how our next trough and dip in the jet stream will be bringing in some low pressure there. Gusty winds, some lower elevation rain showers, and high elevation snow showers. That will be the name of the game in these zones that I just hashed out from Washington and Oregon through Idaho and Montana and over into Wyoming as we go through the late part of our Sunday and into early Monday. Eventually, we will see that low pressure on the leading edge of our jet stream energy continue to move east. While it doesn't look like it will have much moisture with it, there will certainly be a big impact from wind over much of the western and central U.S. into Monday. There will also be at least a chance for some showers as enough moisture will get drawn up to the system around parts of the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin Monday evening. Even though this thing will be mainly a wind maker and will be pretty moisture deprived in the dry air behind the most recent system, it will likely be able to salvage up enough of a front to help in producing some scattered rainfall over parts of the Ohio and Tennessee valleys, as well as back into the deep south late on Tuesday. This probably won't be much, but it will be associated with some gustier winds. There will also be some gusty winds and scattered showers pushing in behind that front over parts of the upper Midwest, the northern plains, and even over into the Great Lakes. By the time we get out of Tuesday and Tuesday night and into Wednesday, that's when a lot of the precipitation associated with this low will either be up in Canada, over the Atlantic, or just swirling around the backside of the low in what would normally create a lake effect snow event as you go deeper into the winter. We're not to that point yet, so it will likely just be some rain showers over the Great Lakes and the interior Northeast. Nevertheless, it will be cloudy, and this is the first system reminiscent of a lake effect event in this fall. Again, keep in mind the next system won't necessarily be as much of a rainmaker as the one ongoing this weekend has been. However, there is going to be a big impact from wind, possibly bigger than what we've seen out of the current storm. Those impacts are going to start in the northwest U.S. as Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. We'll see especially high elevations get 30 to even 55 to 60 mile per hour gusts at some point out of Sunday into Sunday night. The rain and the wind and even some of the higher elevation snow will definitely be getting pushed around by those gusts, and then we'll see some of those gusts pushing around the backside of the low into the high plains out of late Monday into early Tuesday. That northwest to southeast wind will be bringing in a chill, and it will be coming in at 30 to 40 to even 55 miles per hour over many of these zones where I just drew the arrow. Of course, things won't stop there as the low continues sliding east. Especially each afternoon and evening, there will be some gusts lighting up underneath it. Those gusts will be pushing in from the west to the east out of the north central plains all the way over to the Ohio Valley and the Appalachians on Tuesday. We could see some 30 to 50 mile per hour gusts there, and that could certainly blow down some tree limbs or some older trees, especially with the ground now saturated behind some recent rainfall. Out of Tuesday into Wednesday, there will likely be another big push of some gusts, particularly around the Great Lakes, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic. Then winds should subside except closer to the lake effect zones by Thursday. Ultimately, the new dip in the jet stream that comes later this week, and all of the gusty winds and the surface low pressure associated with it, that's going to be ushering in changes. Let's take a look at how the temperature zones will change as we go through this week. Starting out with a look at what will be going on during the early part of this week out on Monday and then into our Tuesday, October 21st. Note that there will be some cooler air in the eastern U.S. behind this system that's ongoing this weekend, and things will be warming up back behind that to average or above average in a lot of the nation's midsection. Look at the cool down though. You can already see that dip in the jet stream and how it will be bringing in some below average temperatures to the northwest. Especially Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming will see temperatures 10 to 20 degrees below average as we start the week. And then look at this. By Thursday, October 23rd, the cool down will slide east as that trough does just that. Temperatures should be 5 to 10 to 15 degrees below average from especially the Mississippi River Valley eastbound as we go into the back half of the week. Given what I just showed with temperature anomalies forecasted through this week, let's track out those trends with the actual surface high and low temperatures expected day by day. Starting with a look at what's going to be going on Monday afternoon, note that some parts of the east will be mild or even a bit cooler than average for this time of the year. Behind that system that is currently in the east as we're going through this weekend, 50s and 60s will be high temperatures. Many morning lows will be in the 30s and 40s in this region. But look back to the west. We're going to have 60s and 70s building all the way up to the upper Midwest for the high temperature on Monday afternoon. That's ahead of that dip in the jet stream that will be starting to already come through the northwest U.S. Look at what it's going to be doing there. As we go overnight, Monday night into Tuesday morning, many zones from Washington and Oregon and Idaho all the way out to the high plains should be getting down below that freezing mark. Meanwhile, there will still be that push of near to above average temperatures briefly ahead of that new cool down. That's going to be going on with 40s and even your 50-degree morning lows on Tuesday in some parts of the Mississippi Valley. Here we go towards Tuesday afternoon. Now you can see those cooler temperatures starting to slide into the north central U.S. and then look at what happens by the time we get into our Wednesday morning. With that new trough diving down, that low pressure up in the Great Lakes, we're going to see a widespread push and the biggest push of 30s and 40s that we've seen this season across much of the U.S. All the way from the high elevations of parts of Wyoming and Colorado here to the Midwest, over into the interior Northeast, lows should be around 40 or even a bit below that mark for wake-up temperatures on Wednesday. And then look at the highs Wednesday afternoon. It's not going to warm up significantly much, especially in many parts of the Mississippi Valley eastbound where that cool down will last the longest. 50s are going to be around for the peak temperature of the day from Minnesota and Wisconsin over to the interior Northeast. Lots of 60s even as far south as some parts of northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, North Georgia, and the western Carolinas. What about Thursday morning? Look at how cool it's going to be down this strip of the Appalachians and the East Coast. Lots of low 40s and upper 30s in the mix. And then as we go into Thursday afternoon, once again, a lot of 50s and 60s for highs in zones where we should be a little bit closer to 70 degrees this time of the year. With that being said, that's about all I've got for you in this update on what's to come. Let's talk about those headlines that I just discussed and recap them now. Of course, headline number one, new weather pattern changes are already coming behind the weekend storm system impacting much of the U.S. right now. Gusty winds and scattered rain will be impacts with that next system as it will be on the leading edge of that strong jet stream energy. As that jet stream dip pushes down over some parts of the central and eastern U.S. mid to late week, a more notable cool down will likely settle in. That will last a little bit longer too, with temperatures 5 to 15 degrees below normal over much of the eastern region. That's all I got for you in this video though, and I don't want to waste your time. Let's get right through this outro, which includes the reminder for you to hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this update. If you've got any comments and questions about what I just discussed, please leave those down below. I love to hear from my viewers. That's all I got though. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
One Nation Web.